Looking for Reese. Magdalene tips it away and off and running. Caitlin Clark wins the pass. Thread the needle. My goodness, what a play.
Some called it toughness, others called it dirty. Last season, the WNBA lived right on that line and crossed it more than once.
After she caught that fingertip in the eye or right around it from Carrington with no whistle.
From hip checks on dead balls to hits that stopped games cold, these were the fouls that defined the league's most debated season yet. Let's start with Chennedy Carter versus Caitlin Clark. This was the moment the casual fans realized the WNBA wasn't playing patty cake.
The three, takes the two, and knocks it down. A lot of contact from Reese on
Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky. The ball isn't even in play. The referee is holding it. Caitlin Clark is standing there, probably thinking about her defensive assignment, and out of nowhere, boom. Chennedy Carter comes flying in with a blindside hip check that sends the rookie sprawling across the floor. Let's keep it a buck. That wasn't basketball. That was a message. There was no ball to steal. There was no position to fight for. Carter hit her, stared her down, and, if you read the lips, dropped a not-so-friendly word that rhymes with witch before the whistle even blew. The internet melted down. Stephen A. Smith was yelling, your grandma was tweeting, and everyone was debating whether this was toughness or just dirty. The league eventually upgraded it to a flagrant one, but the damage was done. The message was clear. If you're the golden child, you better be ready to hit the pavement. But if you thought the Chicago Sky were done handing out receipts, you were sadly mistaken. That rivalry was the gift that kept on giving. We moved from the hip check to the headhunt. Enter the Chi-Town Barbie, Angel Reese. Now, Angel plays hard. She is a rebounding machine, a dog in the paint. But late in the season, she got caught up in a moment that looked less like a block attempt and more like a karate chop. Clark drives to the hoop. She has a step. She goes up for the layup. Angel Reese comes rotating over from the weak side. Now, usually you go for the orange sphere. Angel, she swung the hammer and connected squarely with Clark's head. Whack. Clark hits the deck like a sack of potatoes. Reese immediately throws her hands up like, what? I went for the ball. Fam, you missed the ball by 6 inches and found pure forehead. The refs reviewed it, called it a flagrant one, and the post-game interview was legendary. Angel straight up said, it's a basketball play, the refs are affecting the game. Look, I love the competitive fire. I love that they don't like each other. That's good for sports. Magic hated Bird. Jordan hated the Pistons. But let's call a spade a spade. When you wind up like you're chopping wood and connect with a skull, that ain't a basketball play. That's a stop the layup by any means necessary play. It was borderline dirty, definitely dangerous, but it cemented the fact that the Sky were not going to let the Fever breathe without paying a toll. However, the bully ball era wasn't just a one-way street. Sometimes the bully becomes the bullied. And this is where we have to talk about the toughest player in the league, bar none, Alyssa Thomas of the Connecticut Sun. If you don't know AT, you need to educate yourself. She plays with 2 torn labrums in her shoulders. She literally cannot shoot the ball over her head properly, but she will still triple W to death. She is the enforcer. So Chicago is playing Connecticut. Angel Reese, who had been dishing out the punishment all season, is battling for a rebound. And Alyssa Thomas decides she's had enough of the rookie energy. Watch the tape. Thomas essentially clotheslines Reese, grabs her by the neck area, and throws her to the floor. It looked like a judo throw. This wasn't a hard foul. This was an ejection speed run. The refs didn't even hesitate. Flagrant 2. Get out. Go hit the showers. Do not pass go. What made this hilarious and scary was the irony. Angel Reese, who had been the villain in so many other narratives, finally got a taste of that old head strength. And to Angel's credit, she popped right back up. She didn't cry about it. She basically said, thank you, AT, for sending a message. That is a different level of crazy. You get chokeslammed and say, thank you? The WNBA is not for the weak, guys. Alyssa Thomas proved that while the rookies have the hype, the vets have the grip strength. Now, let's switch gears to a play that honestly made me cringe. We are going back to the Caitlin Clark abuse reel because statistically she took more hits than a crash test dummy this year. We're talking about Diamond DeShields. Late in a game, the Fever are cruising. Clark is running in transition. Diamond DeShields is trailing. Now, normally in this situation, you try to cut off the angle or maybe poke the ball away. DeShields decides to play free safety. She doesn't even look at the ball. She just accelerates and runs straight through Clark's shoulder. Clark goes flying, feet in the air, and slides across the baseline into the stanchion. The internet exploded on this one. People were calling for suspensions, jail time, the United Nations to intervene. It was upgraded to a flagrant, and rightly so. It was just unnecessary. The play was over. The game was practically over. It felt like pure frustration. It felt like, I'm tired of seeing you on every commercial. I'm tired of hearing your name, so I'm gonna put you in the third row. And look, DeShields has been through a lot with her health and recovery, and she's a baller. But this play, this was ugly. It's the definition of a cheap shot. You can't just truck stick people because you're losing. That's not defense. That's assault and battery. But of all the wild moments, the one that sparked the biggest conspiracy theories happened in the playoffs. The eye poke mystery. Dejanai Carrington versus Caitlin Clark. Round 1. The game just started. Carrington goes for a swipe at the ball. Or, did she? We need the CSI zoom in for this one. Her hand comes down, fingers spread, and, boop, right into Caitlin's eyeball. Clark hits the floor, clutching her face. She gets a black eye. It literally affected her vision for the rest of the game. Now, half of Twitter said, accident. She was going for the ball. It happens. The other half said, she looked right at her eye. That was the Three Stooges method. Here's my take. I don't think she sat in the locker room plotting to blind her. But I think when you play reckless defense, flailing your arms around people's faces with your fingernails out, you aren't exactly trying not to hit them. It's that, I'm gonna make you uncomfortable defense. Was it a foul? Yes. Was it dirty? Hard to prove intent, but the result was brutal. It left the face of the league with a literal shiner on national TV. It summed up the season perfectly. You want to win here? You're gonna get bruised. So why was this season so dirty? Why were the fouls so hard? Some people say it's jealousy. They say the vets are mad that the rookies are getting the private jets, the Nike deals, and the fame. And yeah, there's probably a little bit of salt in the shaker. But honestly, I think it's just competition. For years, the WNBA was a niche. Now, millions of people are watching. The stakes are higher. The money is getting bigger. These women are fighting for their jobs, their roster spots, and their respect. When you have a new shark in the ocean, the old sharks don't just swim away, they bite back. This is the Jordan rules, all over again. When MJ came into the league, the Detroit Pistons beat him up until he got stronger. That is exactly what happened to Clark, Reese, and the rest of this class. The dirty plays are ugly, yeah, but they also show that these players care. They aren't out there playing for fun. They are trying to physically dominate their opponent. However, there is a line. A hard hip check on a dead ball? That's over the line. A clothesline to the neck? That's over the line. We want physicality, we want rivalry, but we don't want injuries. We want to see these hoopers play, not rehab. But I want to know what you think. Was Chennedy Carter's hip check the dirtiest moment? Did Alyssa Thomas deserve a suspension for the clothesline? Or is the world just too soft now and this is just 90s basketball making a comeback? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you smash that like button harder than Angel Reese smashed that layup attempt and subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. We got more heat coming.